What's the good word, Josh? Your boy DKB here. So we're in the slow season. I was snooping around. I checked out some Rookie of the Year odds, and we have a player that's in the top 10. I feel like I shouldn't be surprised by this, but considering how this year's draft played out, what happened last year, a lot of people I can't even say overhyped the 2022 draft, but in comparison, it definitely feels like a down year. But the feeling, especially from the Flight 23 doc, that I get is that this team walked away very happy with what they had, not only for who can contribute this year, but some of those long term pieces that should be able to take up a pivotal role, whether they be role players or develop into actual starters as we get on. So our first round pick, Will McDonald IV, came out as the 10th best player to win Defensive Rookie of the Year odds. Now, this isn't a shocker taking a look at some of the names ahead of him, right? And of course, Will McDonald was a guy that a lot of people thought, from the media or analyst perspective, was essentially a reach for the New York Jets, anyways. But it seems like we had him fairly high up on our board. So, of course, the best odds seems like it's going with Will Anderson. No surprises there, right? He's in a great situation with D'Amico Ryans and with the Texans. Jalen Carter makes a lot of sense. That's the guy that I would probably put my money on as the most likely to win in as my number one. Tyree Wilson here is third, the linebacker that went to the Raiders. Physical freak, makes a lot of sense. Devon Witherspoon, he would probably be my number two in this situation. He's with the Seahawks. He's being paired up with a great secondary. We just seen what Tariq Woolen was able to do last year, and he's a guy that many thought was going to be a project, at least for the first 2 years or so. Christian Gonzalez, the Patriots cornerback, they've made a normalcy out of churning out high-end cornerbacks, and they've done it with guys that were essentially undrafted free agents or like day three picks. So having a round one cornerback with the tools that Christian Gonzalez has, he's definitely in the mix up there. Jack Campbell with the Lions, classic old school throwback linebacker with some modern day physical traits, somewhat of a freak for his size for sure. Emmanuel Forbes from the Commanders, Lucas Van Ness that went to the Packers, Nolan Smith with the Eagles, and then we have Will McDonald the fourth at number 10. So the only reason I wouldn't necessarily think that Will McDonald should be higher up on this list is considering how the New York Jets are going to plan to play him, right? He's playing a wide nine alignment, which means he's going to be outside the shoulder of the tackles, potentially the tight ends that he's lining up against. And really the biggest argument here is going to be how much playing time is he going to see. I believe Jermaine Johnson hovered around 34 to 38% last season. And so I probably predict Will McDonald will be in that same range unless he really shows more proven production than Jermaine Johnson did right out of the gate. But it's a similar story. A guy that has some pass rush prowess to him. Jermaine Johnson's definitely a better run defender at this current time than Will McDonald, just having a better physical build. But Will McDonald's definitely the better pure pass rusher, so you're putting him in a role that should let him shine. Specifically, Bryce Huff, though, is the best comparison to Will McDonald in terms of the build, but also the get off and everything that you're looking for, right? So how much are you willing to sacrifice potentially having him in there for rundowns as opposed to the upside of him being able to go out there and get a sack, right? So when we want to talk about some of the elite tier things with Will McDonald, right? You take a look at, of course, the arm length. He was ranked in, the 90th percentile there, 98th percentile in the broad jump, and those explosive attributes that teams are looking for. A pure rusher, as we mentioned, right? When you want to talk about guys that just know how to get after the quarterback, that instinctual feel, some of the moves he's able to do, the spin move that's nasty. This guy has it all. He was the highest graded pass rusher, third highest graded pass rusher when it came to true pass sets, according to PFF, for the 2022 season that he was in. He's a guy that had all kind of accolades. We know that he was able to surpass Von Miller's sack record in the Big 12, which is a feat that's outstanding. He had a career sack rate of 4%, which was better than Will Anderson, who's the current top defensive rookie of the year candidate for the season. So just from an efficiency and a comparison's sake, he's every bit as great of a pass rusher as anybody else in this particular class, but it's definitely a bit more of a one-trick pony for him right now. But the stat that's going to keep getting pushed out there and keep getting talked about, which is why this New York Jets team was so excited for him, and this definitely matches what you see on film, is his 45.8% pass rush win rate on his true pass sets. It was the best in the class. It was second in the nation, according to what PFF was tracking. So if he goes out there and he's getting enough pass rush opportunities, he won half of the time, right? Let's just say he gets 12 true pass opportunities a game. You're not expecting him to capitalize on 6, but maybe he walks away with somewhere between 1 and 3 every game. You're talking about a guy that by the halfway point could potentially be looking at a double-digit sack total, right? So that's a little bit of a hyperbole for the situation. I highly expect that's not going to be the case, but I would say he's a dark horse that at least hit double-digit sacks as long as he can get the correct amount of rush attempts out there. And you couple that with the fact that he's going to be playing with an Aaron Rodgers-led offense, we should have a lot more leads. Aaron Rodgers is a guy that is very aggressive in trying to go out there and put points up on the board, and this will feed into exactly what this New York Jets defense is going to be built to do, and even more so than what I would say that 20, I think it was 2017 Jacksonville Jaguars defense, the Saxonville, where they had what's the dude's name? Not Blaine Gabbert. Irrelevant. Either way, they had a team that was led by a quarterback that wasn't ready, and so that defense though, they were able to go out there and feast and thrive on a lot of those early leads. And I think we have the same makeup. Cornerbacks that should be able to go out there and take care of the ball in terms of forcing takeaways. You also know they're going to nullify a lot of those long pass plays and generally passes in general. And then you're talking about that defensive line, which wave after wave after wave is going to be able to go out there and just completely demoralize an opposing offense. So I'm hyped for it. To be honest, I would expect that he'll probably finish, even if he doesn't walk away, as the Defensive Rookie of the Year. I think he could end up finishing top 3, top 5 in the rankings, especially considering we're having a lot more primetime games and a lot of those things that'll work in his favor for that national news coverage. So either way, let me know what your guys' thoughts are. The list, Will Anderson, Jalen Carter. I'll probably try to put it up somehow. But either way, I'll put the link for what I've seen in terms of the odds here. Let me know what you guys think about where Will McDonald could finish in the rankings, and I'll catch you again. Peace.